Hey, how's it going, everybody? Desir here with our Node 2 attack for Dark Dimension 7. We ended up finishing Node 1 fairly well. That only took us 3 total attacks, so I was very happy with how that one played out. The only downside of the first attack was how I ended up finishing the node. A lot of my abilities weren't ready, so this first attack for Node 2 is going to be more of a sack hit. I'm going to try to get some of my abilities back up, and I'm going to try to burn up the abilities for the opening wave. Just as a recap, the team that I ended up using was Super Skrull, Ghost Rider Robbie, Vulture, Apocalypse, and Black Knight. Now because Apocalypse didn't die in the previous node, I'm not going to have any of his abilities ready. So Super Skrull will be going first because all the buffs on the other side. I'm going to target the Spider-Man big time and use his special, that way it could do a rewind, and I did do quite a bit of resets on this just to see how far I can actually push this node with very little abilities right now. Super Skrull being able to do that special, it will be able to come around, and by the end of this I'll have everybody's abilities back up. As you see here, Super Skrull does have his ultimate available. I was debating if I was going to use it, but I decided to hold off on it. That way when I come in for the second hit, I'll be able to start the match off by doing the ultimate. Here Apocalypse actually does have his special available. I'm going to target the Emma Frost and actually use that. That's going to be able to give us a nice health rebalance, and I'll be able to stun her so she won't be able to clear all those buffs, and I'll be able to do some extra damage with this by the end of it. Here Super Skrull is able to do his basic again. Now by the start of the second hit, I'll be able to use his special and his ultimate, so all of his abilities are ready. This ended up being a very good sack hit for me. For that being a sack hit, that was very successful. I was able to get a lot of my abilities back up and ready for the next hit, and I was able to burn quite a bit of the enemy's abilities as well. Spider Weaver unfortunately does have a few charges left on her, so I'm going to have to try to burn some of those off, so I'm going to target the cord first and do the basic to chain across. Vulture, I'm just going to use the basic, and that ended up missing because of the charge that's on Spider Weaver. Ghost Rider Robbie's next up, I'm going to use the basic, and here Spider Weaver ended up using the ultimate again. Now I'm actually going to use the ultimate from the Super Skrull, and that did a pretty good amount of damage to the enemy team. Apocalypse is up, I'm going to use the ultimate here, and I'm going to use that Falcon Punch to get rid of the Spider Weaver. Currently I feel like I had the first wave under control. I am going to do Vulture's ultimate though to do a nice turn meter rewind to them. Now I'm just going to bide my time until the next wave drops in. Zombie Juggernaut and Kraven did end up dropping down. Ghost Rider Robbie is up. I am going to use the ultimate. I want to get as many bleeds on them as possible so I can start having them bleed out and basically just control this wave until the third wave ends up dropping down. The Vulture does end up doing the special on the Zombie Juggernaut. That way I can actually get the taunt off of them. Super Skrull is going to use the special on the new Kraven that just dropped down so I can rewind him and I can try to control him. The other Kraven, I end up using Ghost Rider Robbie's special, so I can ability block that one. Now I'm just going to try to control this wave because I have several characters over there that's very close to death, so I'm just going to have to bleed out, and I'm going to bide some more time for myself to get more abilities to come back up for me. The wave that just dropped down is pretty tricky. There's a Zombie Iron Man, Hela, and Rogue that just dropped down, and we want to really control those rogues. I'm actually not too worried about the Hela and the Zombie Iron Man, but those rogues can be very dangerous, and the amount of damage they pump out can basically just delete anybody. So for the Apocalypse, the new rogue that dropped down, I am going to use that special on her because I want to control her and make sure she doesn't actually get any abilities off on me. Otherwise, it's just instant death for me. So this next wave that just dropped down is pretty interesting. It has a Emma Frost, Korg, and a Spider Slayer. The Spider Slayer is actually very dangerous, so not only do we have to control those rogues, we do want to get rid of that Spider Slayer, because if he ends up taking a turn, he will just automatically delete any of our characters. Now that Black Knight is up, I am going to target the stunned Kraven and actually use that ultimate. That's going to do some pretty massive damage. The Kraven is dead, and the zombie Juggernaut is very close to death. Vulture is able to finish him off with the basic, and now the Super Scroll is up. I was trying to find the best way to actually use the special. I opted to go for Emma Frost so I could ability block her and still do a nice turn meter rewind. By ability blocking Emma Frost, I don't have to worry about her removing any of the debuffs I have peppered across the other side of the field. On Ravi's turn, I do opt to throw the special at the rogue. I want to make sure to keep her under control. That's going to be a big part of this wave, is keeping the debuffs on the other side of the field, controlling the rogues, and taking out that Spider Slayer. You did see how much damage he did to that Vulture by doing that ultimate, and he does do that every single turn. Here you do see that the Ghost Rider Robbie does have his ultimate available. I'm very close to the end of this wave, so I'm going to start conserving my abilities, and I unfortunately do end up wiping here shortly. That's perfectly fine though, because we're in a very good position. We do have 14 characters taken out on this first hit, so we only have to worry about 19 characters, and these 4 are in a very critical position right now, and you did just see what happens if we don't control that rogue. Overall, that was a very successful hit. The first attack, we ended up doing that sack. The second hit, we did 295 million damage. There's 4 characters left, all very injured, so we should be able to get our abilities up and hopefully clear this node out in the next hit. So with the amount of characters that's left, we are going to start with Super Scroll specials, so that way we can get a little bit of control on there, and by the time we get to the next wave, we should be able to get that special back for Super Scroll again. At this point, we do have everybody's abilities back up and ready to go. We got this wave done, the next wave ends up dropping down. As far as the big threats go, we want to take care of that Spider Weaver. The main reason for that is we don't want those charges to get up, however there's also that Spider-Man big time, we want to make sure to take care of him as well. So the Black Knight is going to use the specials, that way we can get the taunt and the safeguard, and then Super Scroll will be ulting. Ghost Rider Robbie will be able to try to control the Team Loki and throw a bunch of bleeds out there in the middle of the field. Apocalypse is going to ult, and we are going to Falcon Punch the Spider Weaver. The Weaver will be the first target we're going to be taking out. Now that we have the Spider Weaver taken care of, we have this wave pretty much under control. We're doing quite a bit of damage, and we are able to conserve most of our abilities, so we're just going to start slow playing this until the next wave ends up coming down. Now that there are 2 characters left, the next wave is going to start coming down, and the rest of the wave will be dropping down after this turn. We're going to keep this under control, so the Super Scroll will be doing the special on one of the zombie juggernauts, so that way we can get a exposed mechanic out there. The Apocalypse is going to be doing the special, so that way we can actually get an ability block on one of the zombie juggernauts. Black Knight is now going to pop off his ultimate and do some pretty nice damage. However, the Spider-Man Big Time did end up getting his ultimate off. We're going to do a nice turn meter rewind with the Vulture, and we're just going to start controlling this wave with ability blocks, turn meter rewinds, and we're also going to be using that Ghost Rider Robbie ultimate to get a lot of bleeds on the other side of the field. Just like before, we are going to use Ghost Rider Robbie's special on the Rogue. The main reason for that is there's high value targets that are around her. We are able to ability block her, and we still want to try to take care of that Spider-Man Big Time. With how often we're going to be hitting him, that's going to get him a lot of turn meter, and he can pop off a lot of damage if you keep him unchecked. Here we do end up using Vulture Special into that zombie juggernaut, so that way we can actually hit the Rogue and the Beta Ray Bill as well. Now that the zombie juggernaut is taken care of, we want to try to control the other zombie juggernaut, because we don't want him doing that special and really messing up our team, as we're in a very good position. If we play this right, we should have a lot of our abilities up for the next node, so we can actually have a nice hit on the double night crawlers for node 3. Now that there's only 3 characters left, I really want to try to slow play this even more. Apocalypse is about 3 turns away from getting his ultimate back, Robbie's very close to his ultimate as well, and Black Knight's getting close to his cooldowns. So we want to try to slow play this as much as we can. However, with all the AoE damage that we have from Super Scroll's basic, Apocalypse's basic, it's going to be very close if we do end up having a lot of our abilities ready for that node 3. Overall, Node 2 wasn't too bad as far as the team that it brought in. The first attack was to go in, get our abilities up, burn the enemy's abilities. Attack number 2, we had a lot of momentum going into that one, and then we finished strong with attack number 3. We may have some of our abilities that's not fully up and ready for Node 3, but we'll see how Node 3 ends up going later on. In regards to the progress that I am making on the leaderboard for Dark Dimension 7, I'm currently ranked 595 after completing node number 2. This is a pretty good improvement based on my progress when I did my Dark Dimension 6 run. I finished that one at rank 912. With the current rate I am going, I am hoping to try to push and maybe get top 500 as far as completion for Dark Dimension 7 and get in that Mephisto. Considering the buff that they just did to Mephisto, I definitely want to try to unlock him sooner rather than later, so I will be making some slight modifications to who I'm bringing into Dark Dimension 7 for my first run, and the important characters I wanted to take up, I'll just take them up on my second run. I know that overall the ranking really doesn't matter as far as when you actually get these characters unlocked. However, me pushing for that top 500 is going to be more of an ego thing and more of a pride. I like putting a challenge in front of myself and putting goalposts for where I want to be at in certain aspects of the game. So going for that top 500, that's going to be one of the goals I really want to hit as I make my journey through Dark Dimension 7. I do hope to have my attack for Node 3 uploaded here shortly as well. If you are enjoying these videos, or if you have any questions about my progress through Dark Dimension 7, feel free to ask me in the comments or join my Discord server. I'm happy to reach out to you guys as well. If you are enjoying these videos, please remember to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.